some figures are just better than others. And that's why today we asked the question, what is the worst toy line in the market today? Oh, this is going to be a train wreck. You ready for this, Nate? Hello and welcome to Modern Toy Fair. I'm your host, the founder of the Neck Illuminati, the delayer of shipments. No, I'm not. The procrastinator of pre-orders. No, I'm not. The voice for the voiceless, Mrs. Modern Toy Fair, Jamar underscore games. And I am joined by the man Modern Toy Fair has full custody over, the man that Optimus Prime popped and he refuses to stop, the Twilight Knight, the master of mech, the three pump chump of taking the show off the rails. Nate, are you prepared for this?
I am so ready.
The confidence from your response is just overflowing.
Ugh,
I feel
exudes.
I feel like we're in good hands. If you are a little confused, I'm not Michael. And he is currently what was he saying? He was doing something. He had a voice accident. It was something with his
Yeah,
throat. Something
yeah.
got stuck in it or something like that. What was it? Do you recall? I don't remember.
No,
Yeah.
he couldn't talk, so
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he tried writing it down and we just couldn't read it. So
no,
we are
I can't read.
here. We're here to figure out what's the worst toy line. Everyone who've been watching these amazing podcasts, you know that me and Nate are the most negative people on the show. So we are ready to tear apart all of these awful toy lines. And I think it's should I go first? Because I think everyone would just assume that I'm assuming that people are watching this. What
Yeah,
would what would you assume that would be my ranking or my worst like I almost said it. I literally almost said it.
I'm gonna say. I mean, are we talking like literally on the shelves right now?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, so we are discussing on the shelves right now that you can actually
Okay,
buy.
so is the one you're thinking of
Was
the one
that
that's on? Is that on shelves now?
yes, I was 100% prepared for for that. So,
So I was
um
thinking you were gonna say Playmates, so some sort of Playmates Turtles line, but those are sadly currently not available on shelves, although they do have some great looking product coming.
Yes, 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 yes. No, I was actually gonna make the joke, to be honest. That's why I was trying to see what you would say. This is actually pretty tough for me, to be honest,
Yeah,
because one, I think you may or may not be in the same boat. But if the toy line shit, I just don't even acknowledge it. You know what
yeah,
I mean? So
exactly.
this is a tough one. But in all honesty, I would probably. Well, first let's do this because Michael's not here. We can literally make the
We can
rules
do
of
what we
this.
want.
So
Yeah.
it's Playmate or saying Playmates. I just want to say that the word so bad, but it's a toy line that
Ah,
is currently on the shelf. When we say toy line, what would you think of like a specific run? Like you know what I mean? Like if we say like I'm joking, vintage collection, right? We're talking
right,
about
right,
a
sure, sure.
specific era or the entire line. Would you?
Um, I would say everything should be like current, like whatever
Okay,
currently
okay,
is going on. So, you know, if we were talking specifically about the vintage collection, we could talk about how, the fact that they've added all this articulation and detail is so horrible that it makes us long for the days of 5 points of articulation and shittier paint apps or something like that.
that's
That
fair.
sort of yeah, that's how we would take that one down.
Okay, so we should just tear down all of them, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I say why not? But I mean, ultimately, like when I go into the toy aisle, like what I think about is like what are the ones that I'm
Yeah,
skipping? And am I skipping it because I'm not interested? Like, and I'm sorry, for instance, wrestling. Those don't interest me, so I skip by them. But I have looked at them in the past. Those are relatively cool figures. So I
yeah,
couldn't, put that line, as a worse toy line because that's not really fair. That's you know you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So I look back on this a lot and I look at different things. And one of the things I think that just kind of aggravates me or annoys me
Mhm.
is the attempt with Hasbro to make these kid-oriented lines. So, for
Ooh, okay.
instance, currently on the shelves right now, Spider-Man. All right.
Hmm.
We all know that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is probably going to be amazing because the first one was. But we have like these giant, they have the 12-inch super stuck,
Yeah.
like you have a young son. Do you think? I mean, does your young son want that? You know, Captain America that looks like this?
And they just go like straight up.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point because I it's hard to put myself in the mind of a child now, but yeah, I don't know if it's partly because I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna even look at these things that as in I haven't really like introduced it yet, but I
yep.
kind of am with you there. They just kind of look like they're phoning it in a sense, and by all means, I was joking about us being negative. We were probably the most positive people in the toy
Right,
industry, right? You would say
right,
that,
right.
but I don't mean that it's like they really actually are phoning it in, but it just seems so bad that like, but I guess again, here goes the positivity. It is relatively cheap considering
And
if
that's where like it's about half.
yeah.
And so, and I guess they're not really looking at, kids who were kids when the Avengers came out are not necessarily the same kids that when, Guardians of the Galaxy 3 come out. But one of the things that I see is such the ebb and flow of those kid oriented lines. So like
Uh-huh.
currently we have a 3 3/4 inch Guardians of the Galaxy kid line going, a 5 inch 5 points of articulation Spider-Verse line, and then those 11.5 inch to 12 inch Titan heroes or whatever they're called. There's no consistency
Yeah.
across the board. And I don't know. I think that kind of takes some of the fun out of it because even if you're looking at it from, like I said, like the age gap across these movies, maybe those same kids aren't going to be, playing with those. But wouldn't it have been cool to like inherit all your brothers or
Oh,
older sisters,
yeah.
figures of, the earlier movies, and they all fit in that same scale, much like when I was a kid and I got, my brother's G.I. Joe guys or something like that, or his Star Wars guys, Star Wars stayed consistent. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Across
No,
the
I get
board. And
you.
those were thing. And that's my point too. When I was a kid and we had crappy figures, that's because there weren't anything better. I can't imagine a kid
Mhm.
who's like, oh, I could get this, Titan hero for $15 or this Marvel Legend for, well, I guess now 25, but still, like
Still,
I
yeah.
would be like, damn, I want that more.
Right.
So
I mean, one thing too, another positive spin on that. I just can't help myself. They are they do have windows on those packaging.
they do. They do. They're open. Yes.
um yeah, I mean in the same vein, I think I have one as we've been discussing this that I really do want to pick apart. And I almost feel bad because I know we've mentioned this maybe on like the live
Yes,
stream.
because mine was totally a softball one. Like I got to pick on the kids' lines because there's no consistency,
It's
and
easy.
it's crazy. It's easy. It
Plus,
is.
we
It's
we
great.
know the
But again,
demographic. There's not a lot of kids watching, so they're not gonna get in the comments and get all, angry at us.
I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. 7-year-old Timmy is canceling me.
Yeah,
So
not yet at
let's
least.
hope not. Let's not. Well, let's see.
Give him about 7 years. So one of the lines that and when I say this, I do really mean it. Like I'm not gonna just say straight up it's shit because the one hard thing about this is we're judging it based on our personal opinion. And for
Right.
me, I may not have necessarily an issue spending the 25 to 30, you know what I mean? Whereas like if Michael didn't have something going on with his throat, he would probably have no issue to speak up and say he enjoys spending $100 on like a figure or
Right.
close to it, right?
Right.
So we all have
He
like our
loves it.
price, ranges and stuff. But the line that I'm getting at here is the best action because they
Right.
became on my radar
Right.
mainly because of well, yeah, mainly for the turtle stuff. Like some of the other things that they've done looked like okay, but like they are kind of going balls to walls, and maybe it's a little bit of like jealousy in this sense of like, man, I love buying turtle stuff, so any line that is in existence, I want to get on that. And this line, I just cannot get behind spending the cost on it because they are a little bit more affordable. However, they just look so bad to me, in my personal opinion, because I like to open up my figures. that I just can't do it. It They have cool concepts. They're making some things that I haven't seen done in like even just NECA or Super 7 or well, kind of in Playmate. But like it's just upsetting that for the cost, it's a decent figure. But for
Right.
me, of what I'm looking for out of a figure, even if it was that much less, it just isn't worth it for like for me, I guess is what I would say.
Right. And I totally agree with you. And I think one of the things that bugs me about them most, and maybe this is growing pains, maybe this is their first,
Yeah.
but I've seen companies kind of do better in less time.
Uh-huh.
Looking specifically at like Funko when they did their action figure line that we talked about a few weeks ago, they fixed some of their QC issues and they always had a great look to them where I don't think, these ones do. And the part that disappoints me is because I was a big fan of the Loyal Subjects, which is that same company. They're like
With the
blind box characters. Yeah, the
yeah.
super deformed. I thought those were neat. So I thought they were really well done.
Mhm.
I thought the creativity was there. So when I heard that they were going to go into the action figure line, I was like, all right, let's see what they can do. And it's been disappointing. And I think that kind of leads into my next one because we're just taking them all down. We're
Yeah, let's
trashing
just
them.
do it. Knock them down.
Um, I gotta pick on
Oh.
I gotta go to the collector end, and I gotta pick on my boys at Super 7. And it hurts me. It
Oh.
hurts me. It hurts me. Okay.
But
Trust
wait.
me.
Pause it right here, because I don't want you to
Right
lose it.
here.
Hold that thought. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because we do have some Patreon input and
Oh,
for this
oh,
topic specifically. So the
okay.
one Sukmatin
Yeah. Make sure you do that with the accent. You gotta
yeah,
get it
it's
just
I
right.
think
Just
there's an accent there somewhere that Sumatin.
it's French. It's
Oh, that's what
French.
it is. Sumatin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super.
um, so the reason why I say this is because this is basically hitting the head right on the nail right
Oh,
on the head, however you want to say that. But
yeah, right on the hammer.
so what we have from Sukma Tank, Super 7 makes the worst action figures. They own the literal trademark. And then there's a link that will be below that you can click on and go check the website
Right
out.
here.
I'm assuming
Right
so.
here.
Producer throatless. Coincidentally, they also make the worst action figures currently. As much as I want to love the Ultimate Turtles vintage line, they're dropping the ball. This is tough for me to read. Bad figure choice, bad articulation, bad QC, high prices, long delays, problems with licensors. In general, Super 7 likes to string customers along by trickling out good characters people want. They are 4 waves into the Simpson line, and they finally are releasing some core family members in their standard looks. The problem is because they're doing such a shit job, I'm too afraid they'll go bankrupt and shut down before they finish any line. So I'm hesitant to go into the Simpsons line or anything new. If they start out releasing all of the core Simpson characters, I'd go I'd be balls deep in the line and going all in on everything. But they think they know better they think they know better what people want. I think they know yeah, you get what I'm trying to say, or what actually
Yeah.
Silva Tank is saying. So, does this
Right.
kind of reflect on what you were where you were going with that?
Yes. So I will. You pretty much covered a lot of what I wanted to say about that. And a friend of the show, Corey Holiday, formerly one of my caretakers as a member of figuratively speaking. He
Oh,
mentioned that it's a little
I was
shocking.
confused.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, uh, but he was talking about how they haven't announced any more Silverhawks figures. They've actually delivered
Mm,
on 2 waves and solicited 3, but now there's been no further waves, and the core team is not there for him who has bought them all. So that's a concern right off the bat, and so that kind of lines in with Sukumate, the what exactly they were saying,
right.
and so yeah, I get that. But where he's like, how are they able to afford this or whatever like that? I think they're able to keep afloat on the other section that I wanted to pick on a little bit, and that's reaction.
Ah,
Because
okay.
I actually really enjoy some of the reaction stuff. I don't buy a ton of it, but I do dabble, and they have gone so far above what they were doing when they were partnered with Funko for a while, as far as the quality of the figures and the looks and things like that. Um, but I gotta be honest, the the price point is atrocious, and
Yeah.
so the reason I'm sticking my arms up, I just happen to have one nearby. You know, this is not worth $18. Okay,
Stop it.
$18. So, and I know they have great licenses. I
Yeah.
love the card art. Like, I'm a sucker for that, obviously. So this they do get to people like me, and that's how they get us. And when they make things like this, where I have hardly, well, I say nothing else, but I actually have another reaction Teen Wolf figure and a Mego one. So I mean, they did, and I have a pop figure of it too. So they did make some stuff, but when the pickings are slim,
Yeah.
you
You
take
take
what
what you
you
could
can
get.
get.
Yeah.
But I would certainly get a lot more if they were less than $18. And I understand small production runs and things like that, but a lot
It's
of them
not
are
a lot
sold at
there.
Target.
Yeah.
So like they're making enough of them now to kind of maybe possibly offset the cost a little bit. When those GI Joes ones came out, I think I would have been la ball deep, or deep la ball, as
I do
was
believe
just
that's a
pointed out.
French phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I would been that way as well for that if they were like $10.
Yeah. Yeah.
The idea of that being though $18, it's just because two of them are $36. You're
Jeez.
talking 40, almost $40. And then if you're at like some like small mom and pop or comic book stores or something like that, more than likely they're going to be over $20.
Right.
And that's what we used to pay for Marvel Legends. So that doesn't quite seem, you know,
No, I totally agree with you. And that the reactions are, yeah, the reactions line is a line that I don't like. I don't, it for whatever reason in my brain I don't think of Super 7, even though that it's clearly like their thing. The
right.
the the one big issue I have with like the reactions is the price point, because they've
Yep.
done a lot of great things like the hip hop, like the rapper lines they've
Yeah.
done, like ODB and like Biggie, and like they just have like a lot of these things that I keep thinking like, maybe I'll just wait till the ultimate comes out because of the cost. You know what I mean? It's like, well, why don't I just
Right.
get something even
You're
better with more
almost halfway
articulation?
there.
Yeah. So like I get that. And now my question is, has those always been that high? Because I swear I thought they were like $12 or
When they first
$10.
came out, they were around $10 to $12. It's been
Okay,
within, I
okay.
would say, the last maybe 3 years that they went
Okay,
up
okay.
to
That
18.
makes sense.
I remember the Pee Wee's Playhouse ones being like the first ones that came out that were like 18. It was just like, wow, that's
Yeah.
really expensive.
That's a tough pill to swallow. And like
Right.
it like you say, you're buying it because the card art is so awesome, and which that's the thing that it just pops on the shelves, and maybe that's what makes it such a good line in
Hmm.
that sense, is that it really does
Right.
have like that pull you to it, because you see them and you every time I see one, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that. I want to pick it up and look at it, but then I never buy. But yeah, like you kind of think, man, I'm spending $18. I'm getting this little figure with like some decent details, but not really that great. What am I buying here? Like, I'm buying a
Right.
postcard is
Right.
basically what you're buying. So
Yes.
yeah, I can get that. We can definitely dig a grave for that toy line as well. Um, I just it's a weird one. So you think that they're like using the reactions to fund the Ultimate line
It's
is
gotta be. It's
yeah.
gotta be. It's how they're able to obtain all these extra licenses and things like that.
Yeah,
It's the only way. It's the only
that
way.
makes sense.
Now, do you have any more?
Well, I do want to jump in real quick on the
Mhm.
Sukumate, because I feel like I'm normally a Super 7 apologist, and I feel
Right.
like I've been for a minute, only because
Mhm.
I do thoroughly enjoy what I get from them
Yes.
when there's no issue with, like, the weak
Right. Right.
legs, or,
And
um
again, I buy Super 7 figures as well. I buy Reaction, I buy Ultimates. I'm
yeah.
not calm
No,
yourself.
Nate, you hate them, okay? Just
I do.
admit
I
it.
do.
No. But no, I just I understand. I don't know if I would make this. I guess if I had to pick a worse line, I could agree with a lot of things that Sukumaten is saying. And that kind of is a little bit of an eye opener of like, well, damn, they do kind of suck. But I really hope they make these few last toys that I want. At least these last few figures that I will get. Hopefully, my fingers are crossed. But
Yeah, I still want my Godzilla ones. I'll take any of them at this
yeah,
point. Like, just give me one.
it's just that they seem to be like the easy one to like punch on, just
Sure.
because they are like in a seems like a tough spot, unless they're just laughing with all the money that they're making from us.
That could be
But
too.
they're like, no, we're not going bankrupt. We're balling over here. Just take this fucking figure when I give it to you. But yeah, that may have to be probably one of the worst lines because of all of the issues altogether. But it's so hard to say that because they make really good figures. Like when
Hmm.
it's not any QC issues. I understand that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm not ready to let Super 7 go yet.
You're not ready to let them off the hook.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do suck. Another one I want to throw out there.
Okay.
This one's an easy one. We do this all the
All
time.
right.
Well, actually, you know what? I have another one. This one is a personal one for me.
All
Um,
right.
it's Jakks Pacific's Apex line. It it fucking sucks. It really does. For a bevy of reasons, much like the Super 7, you get announcements for a wave. It's all scatter. I don't know where I can buy it from. They used to be at Target, it used to be at GameStop. Sometimes they're on Amazon. When it's on Amazon, it's oddly out of stock, but then they come into stock and they're like $40 because it's some random person selling them. There's no consistency with that line at all. And it angers me more just knowing the fact that I've already invested. I probably have like maybe like 9 or so of the characters. There's more. There's a lot more. They're making new characters like almost every season in the game. I was thinking I had a perfect line that I can complete and I can overlook some of the flaws, but now the longer it's getting from new characters to like new waves, it's starting to become like, okay, well, your face sculpts absolutely terrible. The overall body sculpts are terrible. The articulation is horrible. I don't know, like I've never really like went into this explanation before, like showing them, but you know how you have like your ankle, your regular ankle joint, you can do all the cool things. Theirs is just a peg. It's just a swivel. And then you may have some
Uh,
toe articulation or whatnot. But it's just awful because the game is so dynamic, but you can't really do many dynamic poses with these figures because they're so bad. The only thing I can give them is that they do have good paint apps, except for the face, and they do have like a really good eye for detail as far as all of the smaller details in like the patterns of the clothing and things like that. But I just feel like they completely dropped the ball. I feel like I'm the only person that's probably buying these, which is probably why they're dropping the ball. So,
right.
like, I'm just out here complaining to a brick wall at this point. But it really, really, really pisses me off. If I had one line that I could just set on fire right now, it'd be the Apex line. And that's even being like, I wanted to go balls deep in this line, minus buying like the extra character skins and whatnot. And they just completely let me down at this point. I have the most recent character that came out just looks the worst. Like absolutely the worst. Proportions all bad. She's normally like a smaller character and like she's like the same size of like one of the tallest characters in the game. So it just doesn't make any sense at all. I will finish this by saying I will still buy them if they keep coming out if I can find them, but I'm definitely not ever buying like a premium for them. If I can get it, I can get it. But other than that, that one there I'm probably the only person who has this issue, but that line sucks. Absolutely sucks. Um, Another one I was gonna say, we don't even have to. I just wanted to get that out there. Another one you may have
Okay.
some input on is I'm not quite fond of the McFarlane line in certain cases. So the not
Yeah.
the entire toy line, right? Because I don't
Right.
really buy like most of the Batman stuff, like the DC universe or whatnot. But it just upsets me when like I want to kind of get some of these things. Like when the Batman movie came out, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" And then you open yours and it broke on air, and I was like, "All right, maybe I don't want to get that." And so like there's a line that again affordable. but I feel like there's better, except for Demon Slayer lie. Those are good. What's your thoughts?
Well, I definitely agree, and I think probably the worst thing about it is at this point, McFarlane has been in the game for like 30 years now.
Yes.
Um, they Yeah, they're doing cool things, but they could be doing so much better. The face sculpts should be better. The fact that like they use the repackaging. I know that we talk about reuse and how it has to be done, but to have to buy a whole nother figure just for a different head sculpt sucks. Especially when Marvel has been doing two or three heads in a figure for years. I
Yeah.
mean, I I have a tough time with that. And while they've definitely improved on their articulation, they are still behind the ball. They're still, you know, still really far back, especially with what Hasbro is doing on certain lines.
Yeah.
Case in point, like GI Joe Classified, which is probably right now I would say like the example of great articulation in a 6-inch figure. But then you also have Dungeons and Dragons, which is maybe a step up from Titan Heroes, with just with more articulation and a correct size. Um, I strangely enough, I think when McFarlane kind of steps away from that, they do a better job. So like, well, I mean, I'm talking about like the smaller Demon Slayer, but those look fun.
Yeah,
The smaller 5-inch Avatar, we got way more characters,
that's
way
true. I
more
always forget
interactive
those.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of the Batman 66 line, and that's more.
Yeah.
It's not like 5 points. It's like 9 or 11 or something like that. But it's a far cry from the multiverse stuff.
Mhm.
And although it's creeping up to about that same price, it is more of a fun look and things like that. So, uh, but I could kind of shit all over that one too because the articulation is limited and the price is going up, just what I talked about in other things. But you know, it started out cheaper, I guess. But yeah, I definitely would kind of pick on McFarlane and especially multiverse specifically,
Yeah.
because I think it should be better along than where it is. But then again, how long has he been doing this now? Is it 3 years or has it only been two? Like they
Of
cranked out so many figures in multiverse for
oh,
McFarlane.
that's the
I think
hard
it's like
thing is to
3 years.
tell because
I
it's
think
been
now.
probably like 672 different figures in that 3 years because
Right,
it
right.
feels like it's been longer than that.
Yeah. Another one that I want to bring up. I used to buy it. I don't buy it anymore because, as you say, we don't buy the crap we don't like. Except when it's the McFarlane stuff. That's the only other way I'm going to get it, or the Super
And the
7 Ran.
Jakks
Anyway,
Apex figures, I know.
but I got to pick on Dragon Ball Dragon Stars a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I actually collected that line from the beginning. It kind of ran parallel with figure arts. And no, I'm not going to try to compare the
Mhm.
figure arts figures to Dragon Stars. But I just feel like Bandai, and I guess in this case it would be Bandai of America. Again, they've been around a long time. They should be a little bit further at this than they are. Those Gundam figures that they do are incredible,
Pretty dope.
and those are probably based on a lot of the models and Gun Plus stuff that's out there. But still, those are great. Whereas the Dragon Stars, the articulation is weird and kind of wonky, and the joints are very visible. Like there's like
Yeah.
the bolts
It
in the arms, and the sculpts are not right. Like everybody looks strange. It's almost like we're still getting Jax figures from like 2004, and it's I think people are noticing, and I think it's really cooled off because they dropped the build a figure, they dropped accessories and things like that, and then they come out with a different line that actually includes blast
like a
effects, then, which drives me crazy because I want those blast effects, but I don't want the figure
like
that's
the
there.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just Dragon Stars could be a lot cooler than what it is.
Yeah, as someone, as a
We still good?
we still
Okay.
recording? Okay. Well, he can edit that out. But
Yep.
as a youngling in the like DBZ world, if you will, for like figures and getting some representation, that was my initial thought of like, I'll just do these, kind of get like a baseline thing. And yeah, it was one of those things of like, okay, these do kind of like look visibly lesser quality, obviously, than the figure art. So it gave me that enough of that. Okay, I'm gonna just not. I'm gonna be a little bit more picky on what I want, but
Right.
also just go that route. So buy less, but get something significantly better. And we totally understand. Again, same with the best action. Understand affordability. If
Right.
that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Get that representation no matter what. But yeah, I can hear you on that. Like, you would think that it would have kind of leveled up a little bit, and a much like the McFarlane, I wonder if it's just like they are really absolutely trying to hit this cost. So, like, they're not innovating at all in a sense, or
Yeah.
like adding any, or just trying anything different. You know what I mean?
So case in point, to kind of flip it on a little bit of positivity here.
Oh yeah.
Um, I actually saw one of the Street Fighter figures from Jada Toys that Michael was talking about a few
Oh
weeks
yes,
ago.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
saw it in the package, at the store, and I just was like, "Wow, it's an impressive overall presentation of the
Hmm.
figure." The box is really cool. It's very um, appropriate for what it is, being that it's the Street Fighter. And there's a company who's kind of come out of nowhere with action figures in the last 2 years, because they used to make those little metal figures and other things like that. They weren't really known for action figures, and they're kind of knocking it out of the park right now with what they're doing already. And that's what makes like McFarlane
Yeah,
and Bandai, names like that a little more disappoint. You get a little more disappointed in
yeah,
them
that's
for
fair.
not being able to keep up.
Yeah, that is true. It's even more of an eye opener when you see someone like that come in, and relatively close price point as well.
Right,
Now,
right.
it could be, the quote that I don't even have to say it from that Batman movie that everyone always says, and blah blah blah. You just stay wrong long enough and you become the villain, yada yada yada. It could be just like they're new, fresh and young. They're attacking it as best they can, and give
Yes,
them some more time, and they're just gonna be like, yeah, fuck it. We're just gonna phone it in. I don't know.
yes, yes.
We
Because we all
basically,
loved Super 7 at one point too. I mean, we all, fawned
that is
over
true.
every announcement that they made. And I don't wanna pick on
Why do
them.
you
I
hate this man?
do appreciate what they're trying to do. I really do. I really
Yeah.
do.
Well, the main thing we can say is we're not saying you're shit. We just want you to do better. All of the lines that
Yes.
we've kind of mentioned, in one way or another, we do have some interest into it, which is
Right.
why it's more like upsetting outside of like the the Titan Hero 12-inch thing. But we do have some like kind of interest into the line. So overall, we're not being completely negative. The only last
Right.
thing I wanted to throw out there, I don't know how long we've been talking. It's probably been 2 weeks at this point. But
Mhm.
is there any, like, import company that is a current line that you just like, they are the worst? Because I feel like we are very positive to all of the imports, like, we
Hmm.
don't really slander their names. We normally do, the NECAs and Super 7 and whatnot. Is there an import that you would just say,
I mean, I would say for me, when, what's the company? It's
"Mafex"?
Moffitt, yeah, the reason that
Oh.
Michael can't talk.
No. Oh, you're talking about, he knows. It's one that he collected.
No,
Uh,
but
are you
I
talking about
do think
Mezco?
no,
Oh,
no. I just
well,
gonna
I guess
say
technically that's
Mofex.
not import.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay.
the one thing about Mofex that I will pick on is when they do, like, movie figures,
Mhm.
their likenesses are a little like, figure arts, I feel, hits them a little better than Mofex does,
Yeah,
but when you're collecting, like, you know, comic art figures, brought to life, they tend to really do a great job. I just don't like their real person likenesses as much as another, import company.
that's fair. That's like a soft, I don't hate
Yeah,
you, I just don't really like being around you kind of thing.
yeah. I think with imports, you gotta love it if you're gonna pull the trigger on that,
That's
because
true.
because I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Rebel Tech.
Oh, yeah, you
That's
mentioned that before. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit more. That's a bit more of a commitment than I'm ready to make.
Yeah.
Articulation wise. Um, I don't know that I want to spend that much time with you as a figure. And will the result be worth it enough, or is it just going to look like this anyway? Like,
You wanna just pose it, get it in, get it out, you know?
yeah, Yeah,
That's fair.
sometimes you just, you want to. Sometimes you want more, but you don't have the time.
Yeah,
You
I'd like
both
to.
know it.
Oh, I don't know if there's any other lines that we haven't shit on that deserves the shit. Is there? I can't think of anything else.
I mean, I could take an easy shot at just again at like Star Wars retro
Oh,
collection,
oh yeah.
just because I don't, the cards are shitty, and I don't like the idea of making these. Those. It's just a thing. Like, and I'm talking about like the ones for like Obi-Wan and the
Oh,
Mandalorian, and those.
I guess I'm more so wondering, like, almost kind of why does it exist? Am
Right,
I in
right,
a weird? Yeah,
right.
because
I think
price wise, they're not that much cheaper than the vintage one, right?
no, they're like I think 11, 10 bucks, 10, 11 bucks, and
Yeah,
vintage collection is well now 16, I think, but
yeah.
whatever.
It's just not enough gap between the two to
Right,
be like,
right,
well, just put all your efforts into that line as opposed
right.
to doing that.
And
But
when
there,
they re-released the originals, it was like more of a nostalgia thing, and people who
uh,
didn't have their figures anymore, and that made sense.
yeah,
Or if they wanted to make more figures that never got made from the original
from
movies,
the
that also makes sense. But basing it off of new media,
makes it. Yeah, I see what you
I,
mean.
I, just- I don't, I personally don't really get it. And judging from store pegs, not a lot of other people do either.
What's the
So
Mitch Matchy? Is it Amando? The holographic.
yeah,
That one
yeah,
is. I literally see that every single time.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's fair. Well then, I'm trying to look at our producer to see if it's cool to. The producer says thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed this. This isn't in the show notes or anything. I'm completely just riffing. And if you're watching this episode and you made it this far, just watch it again and watch it again and watch it again. Just watch it as many times. We want this video to have like so many more views just to prove a point to Michael that you guys are really here for me and Nate. So I'm just
Send it
saying.
to your grandma. Send it to your aunt. Uh, like tell them it's really important. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
whatever you want to, and then have
Whatever you do.
like make it a chain. Uh,
Email chains, let's bring those back.
bring those
Or
back. Yeah,
write it down by hand. Everything
yeah.
has a URL, write it down, chain letter in the mail.
Tell your mom you'll get extra points on Candy Crush if she watches this video.
Ooh, I like that promise. I like that.
Yeah,
Fortnite bucks too for everybody. Just hit
yep,
up at Modern Toy Fair on Twitter. You can get those if you shut out the
yep,
video. I think Michael's gonna
yep,
give those out. So yeah,
yep.
but that's all. Wait, what did it say? Oh, but that's gonna be it for this week's episode. Make sure to let us know what you think about us in the comments, specifically me and Nate. And also, if you'd
Right.
like to mention the worst toy lines on the market, do so. Please
Please.
do that as well. We would love to see if we hit the nail right on the head. I think we spoke for most everyone, so I think we did a pretty good job. But if you
Yeah.
also enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out, and it gets you get a bunch of toy related stuff. Plus, you get to see us. That's just basically all that really matters, right? And if you're a fan of the channel, you can head over to patreon.com/modern toy fair in the link below. And definitely, we have some amazing tiers. We have some different rewards that I cannot read this because my eyes are going. We have some different rewards, so please make sure to check that out. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Modern Toy Fair. Remember, share this video, ask for those V-Bucks. I don't know. You can check me out. Oh, that's me over at metal.tv/Jarmar Games. Truthfully, I just like Michael saying this every week. You can follow me. It doesn't really matter. Nate, what do you have for us this week?
Well, I got to tell you about this new podcast that we got
Oh,
started. Our good patron friend, Asukumate, recommended this and got us inspired for this. And it's going to be Michael and I are going to be hosting it. It is going to be called The Wide World of Water Sports. And what it's going to be
oh
all about
God.
is all kinds of games that revolve around pee. It's kind of a growing trend within the uh, uh, you know uh, country club clientele, shall we say, out on the golf course. P related games, whether you can like hit different targets or get it in somebody's mouth or
Oh, okay.
something awesome like that. But this podcast is going to be all about covering those games, those prizes, like talking to the big stars of water sports, Wiz McTaggart, talking to
The old
you
Wiz.
know, uh, Lightning Boy Leaker, and just people like that initially as we get started. There's
Okay.
also going to be Flush Me McElroy. He's going to be on. I got a guarantee there. And then also Wizzy Borden is going to possibly. We're working on it. We're working on it. But these are big names in water sports. So if you don't know about water sports, come to the wide world of water sports. I will be talking all about it. Michael will probably just be gargling. Warning: auditory depictions of urination may offend or arouse some listeners.
All right. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week. Same toy time, same toy for channel. Thanks for watching.